this trip, I had two mantras I just kept saying to myself. One, can't kill sheep from the tent. Two, just one step at a time. This is looking north. Right there, that ridge is the Continental Divide. Right back beneath that base is where I shot my one valley closer to this where I shot the ram. Down there is the North Fork of the Chandler. And here's looking south. Holy smokes. There's the saddle I came in on. And I am trying to get around this peak to a different saddle that's south facing. So hopefully there's not as much snow. But I just came up this ridge and some of the windblown areas are still well over a foot deep of snow. But the view is quite spectacular. Here comes Maddie. Right down there. To come do a swap and take my meat and hide back. And little does he know that by the time he reaches me, he's about maybe 300 feet elevation below me right now. But little does he know, when he reaches me, he will have made it as far as he needed to when he decided we needed to split up and that he wasn't going to do it. So he came up this saddle here, and the saddle that we split up right down here at this little fork, and I went up this drainage right here and over this saddle, and right now that saddle's about maybe 100 or 2 feet elevation beneath me. There's Maddie right there, taking my sheep down to the truck. He said he was sketched out just getting there, but he'll be fine. He's just got to make it down. I think it's probably something like 1,500 feet elevation decline from there to the truck, and about 4 miles, 3.5 miles, 4 miles maybe. So he'll probably be at the truck about the same time I get back to base camp. So now I got to get back to base camp, go get my stuff that I left where I shot the sheep, which is another 5 miles in, get back to base camp, pack all that up, and then do this all over again. So I just got back to where I shot the ram to pick up my stuff that I had left behind to pack the meat out. It is 9 o'clock on the 12th, 2 days after I shot him, and there's no sign of his remains. So either wolves or bear or something took it away. There's ravens flying around, but that's about it. I don't see any part of the carcass, so who knows where it went. But today's gonna be a big day. I hiked out the meat from base camp to pass it off to Matt on the other side of the pass. That was a little, 2,500 feet elevation gain and about 3.5 miles up with a 90-pound pack or so. And then back down. I made a pit stop at base camp. I had not intended on coming back here tonight, but the weather was good and I figured might as well do it. now when the weather's nice. So then I made it another 4 miles back up in here, 5 probably, and a couple 1,500 feet more elevation gain. And now I'm heading out. I just wanted to make one last video of this spot. I remember I was coming down, or when I was coming up, right when I passed this little gully, it gets really, really steep right there, and the water's rushing down with a bunch of little waterfalls, and it's so loud that when I came up over that, I realized I was making a lot of noise with my sticks, my hiking sticks on the rocks, because when I was in that valley, you know, everything's so loud, and I was just trekking along, didn't realize how much noise I was making. By the time I made it up and out of it, I just stopped and took a second, and I was like, man, I'm making a lot of noise. So right there I decided I made a conscious note that I was making a lot of noise with my sticks and to try to quiet them down. And then right when I got to this little passage over here, right there, I thought, man, this looks like this is like a beautiful little flat spot right here. I thought this just looks like the passage to Eden. Like there's gotta be a sheep in here. And right on the other side of this little ridge here is where I first spotted them. So less than 10 minutes before that, I had noticed I was making a lot of noise, and I said quiet down. And then not even minutes before I saw them, I thought, man, this just really looks like sheep country. Like there's gotta be a sheep in here. And just right then, I looked up and I thought, man, it almost took me by surprise. I spotted one of the guard rams, and it took me by surprise because for the last 5 days before that, I was glassing up patches of snow for days and thinking, nope, that's gotta be a sheep, that's gotta be a sheep, no. And then I was just conditioned to see like pure white. And then when I looked up, it was just under 400 yards when I first spotted the guard ram. And I thought, what the hell is that? It just really took me by surprise. And put glasses on it, and I was like, holy smokes. That's a sheep, and it's a half-curl ram. And then I saw the next guard ram, and then came out the big boy. And I sat there and glassed them for just under an hour, probably, trying to judge legality and figure out if there's... Right away I could tell that the right side was broomed. But it took a while for him to feed along and turn, and I was looking at him for, like I said, just under an hour, trying to figure out if he was definitely double broomed. And then when I decided that, they had kind of fed down into where they were just out of view, and I just made a rush for it. I had to close that just under 400 yards, and the closest that I could get was 102. There was absolutely no way for me to get any closer. The two guard rams were bedded looking downhill, and the big ram was just feeding along. And they had me kind of pinned down. There was no way I was getting any closer, and there was no way I was backing out. They would have seen me if I had done either one of those. So when that ram came out at 102, I was kneeling. It was just over a little knoll, and shot broke clean. It felt good. I have no idea if I missed high or low or whatever happened, but I definitely missed. And then they kind of came up this left drainage right there, and they kind of didn't seem too spooked, and they were kind of feeding along and moving up that little draw. And I thought, man, it's now or never. Like, I gotta make a move on these. So right when they went past my view, I just decided to book it as like 100% effort, try to get up as high as possible. And so I used this little ridge line right there to block me. They were in this one with this little snow patch, and I went up this one about to here. Oh, probably maybe 600 feet elevation gain. And I just did it as fast as I possibly could without making too much noise. And when I came over to the ridge, I, was slowly creeping over, and I saw him bedded down like 300 feet beneath me. So I was thinking I was going to cut them off in their escape route. I thought they were just kind of, moseying on up to get into the cliffs. But they had just kind of fed around this little V right here. They had fed along and moved up into this little drainage and just bedded down. And so I came out about 300 feet above them, backed off again, dropped that 300 feet, and then came on over. And he was bedded closest to the cliff, and they were all looking downhill, so I had plenty of time. Wind was perfect. I had a lot of time to make a move. So I moved in closer, and I initially came over the hill, and I think I was at something like 100, somewhere around 100. And I had a perfect spot to take a shot, and I thought, man, if I can just back off and get a little bit closer, I'd feel more confident. And that's what I did. I just backed off a little bit, came down the closest I could get without making too much noise. Was that first shot at 74 when he was bedded. I nicked something. I don't know. He was bedded, let's see, facing right, and I missed just right, or nicked something on the right. So either a front leg or his face or something. I didn't inspect the body too much to see where I might have hit him, but I had a little bit of hair on that arrow. And then they all jumped up and walked out another 30 feet or 30 yards or so, and that second shot was at 97, downhill at about 20 degrees. And that one was kneeling, and I remember right before the shot, I was thinking in my head, like, take a deep breath, because this is the last chance that you're going to get at this. You missed him once, nicked him once, and this is like the last shot, I was thinking. I took a deep breath. The wind was coming up the hill from my left, and he was quartering towards me, uphill to the right, and I just took a deep breath. I thought, make this one count, because this is the last one. And when I released, I felt my bottom cam just give me a little love tap on my thigh. And I thought, dang it, I've missed before doing the same thing when you're taking a kneeling shot and not thinking about that bottom cam of your bow. And when that thing smacks you, it hurts. But this one was just a little love tap. And I don't know if it happened as the bow released or, as my front arm dipped after the shot. In either case, it was a little bit of love tap, and I watched the arrow fly, and I initially didn't know if I had hit it. The shot felt good, it looked good, but I didn't see it impact. And then immediately I knew that I had made a good shot, because he was squirting blood like crazy. He only went 20 yards, 30 yards, and fell over, rolled down the hill about 100 feet. And I remember at that moment, I was like, I just did it. I just shot a once-in-a-lifetime ram with a bow on a solo backpack sheep hunt in Alaska in the Brooks Range. And then it just all sank in. I was thinking just how lucky and fortunate I was to be here at the right time, and to be just given the opportunity to be here for my family, and having a job that allowed me to take some time off to do this. And I just felt so overwhelmed with gratitude for everything. And just the way it all came together was fast, and then also just the culmination of 3 years of planning and failed attempts, and canceled flights and canceled areas and canceled just learning more about the sheep population and how this is one of the worst years on record to be hunting sheep in the Brooks Range. And so I remember when I was coming in, I was like, I'd be happy just to see a sheep. And these were the only sheep I saw the entire trip. And so just amazing opportunity. I feel so grateful and fortunate to be here. And what an amazing experience. And I don't know if I'll be back next year. I think my body needs a break. I'm pretty torn up and beat up, and my knees are definitely shot, even with steroid shots in them and taking steroids right now just to get this last bit of packing through. My body's completely done for. But had a great trip, had a great time. I really cannot believe I pulled off a solo backpack sheep hunt in the Brooks Range. And it happened. I got a nice big ram. I'm excited to show them off to the folks at ADF&G and be able to send pictures to family and friends, and hopefully this time tomorrow I'll be heading back to town. So, good night.
Braved a winter storm and you got snowed in. Your partner left when it got rough, but you kept going. You had to ration out your food, but you knew that it was worth it, because you couldn't get a sheep inside of your tent. You hiked over 44 miles across the Brooks Range. You showed perseverance in every single way. In the end you took by boat the grandfather of the Dall's tribe, near Attican Pass. You had the hunt of your life. Had trials and tribulations, but you stood up to the test. You showed incredibly calm strength under duress. You shape everyone around you, and you're a leader, yeah, it's true. You worked hard and you deserve this, and I'm so proud of you. You hiked over 44 miles across the Brooks Range. You showed perseverance in every single way. In the end you took by boat the grandfather of the Dall's tribe, near Attican